you very much for coming today for my presentation. My name is Anastasia, and today I'm going to share some practical experience of QA automation in Consur Technologies. So first of all, something about myself. I'm lead of QA UI automation team. I work in the Prague office, and in generally in IT, I'm around 8 years, where 3.5 I work in Consur. So I will speak too fast. If you will see that, please just show to me to slow down a little bit, okay? So first of all, I would like to give you some basic agenda about my today's presentation. The main purpose of our presentation is to show the automation in Consur Technologies and to share with you some transition notes from Selenium 1 to Selenium 2. This would be interesting to the leads and to the people who are involved into the establishing processes in your team. So, what I'm going to cover today? Some basic information about Consur, some brief information how do we do automation, and notes itself why and how we move to Selenium 2. At the very end, I'm going to show the small demo of our test execution infrastructure. So, first of all, some small notes about Consur. Consur is a leading provider of integrated travel and expense management solutions for the different companies, different geographies, different sizes. So currently, we are presented more than in 90 countries all over the world. We have more than 15,000 clients and 15 million of active users. From our customers, you can find such names as IKEA, Google, Twitter, Facebook, and so on. So all this sounds very nice. I would like to give to you some practical example how does it all work. Imagine that you are the business traveler. You need to go from Kiev to Paris for a business trip. You log into our system, book a trip, book a hotel if you need, maybe a taxi, complete your itinerary, and then within one click you just transform into expense report, which you send to your manager. Nothing else. If you have some business-related lunches or another expenses, you can easily expense it through our system. You do not need to add some Excels, do handwriting, and so on. And we also support mobiles. So it's quite fast and easy. Our automation goals. Automation goals are to provide integration testing of all Consur services based on the regressions. To achieve these goals, automation has to be reliable and accurate. If automation gives positive results, we have to trust in these results and we shouldn't do any other evaluation. Automation should be maintainable. There are quite a lot of changes going on in the normal life cycle of the product, and we have to provide these changes quite fast and easy. Extendable. Our Consur application and our scripts has to be extended quite easily by the people of different knowledge. We have to provide all tools, all important comments in our code. And scalable. Platform on which tests are executed should increase amount of tests running at the same time if we add more resources. So, all these goals are quite complex and quite interesting. And for us, it provides some challenges. For example, as overall application stack has grown through the acquisitions, there are quite different technologies involved. So, from our side, we have to, as a UI team, we have to be prepared to create automation for agent-based applications, for HTML-based applications, and so on. Our tests are executed 24/7, different environments. They have to be very reliable. As well, our automation is being executed as a smoke test after deployment to all testing environments. And believe me, our CM team who does the deployments and after that they run the automation, they got extremely upset if the automation fails because of automation-related failures. And we have monthly releases to production. And what do you think is happening next after the release code new deployed to production? We run automation. And we have to verify that our system and integration of the systems works fine. And if we have any bugs, we have to find it sooner and fix them sooner than the customer will find it. So now I'm going to show to you some brief information about QA automation. Before jumping to this diagram, first of all, I would like to give to you some basic info about QA in general. We have set of the feature testers. They test all new features that will be released. And we have QA automation that is focused on regressions. So, as a part of QA automation, we have 3 sub-teams, 19 people in general. So, UI automation team does UI automation functional test development and their support. As well, we do automation execution after production, and we do Selenium-related trainings to all companies for all people who would be interested in their automation creation. We have framework automation team. These guys provide development of all our internal system, tools, helpers, whatever stuff you will need for UI and executions. And the most visible team in all our QA automation department is automation execution team. These guys provide daily automation execution in overall testing environments. They provide daily reports based on their automation execution. They provide fixes, they provide troubleshooting and fixes of the automation failures. So before going a little bit deeper, I would like to show to you components and tools that we use in Concours. First of all, both framework and UI automation team, we work with Selenium 2 Java-based, and we work with Selenium 1 HTML-based, with some enhancements with JavaScript functions for extensions. As a part of the Concours, we have developed our internal web UI. This is a special system for the this is a special system test execution infrastructure that allows us execute the test, create the set of tests, and join them in the packages, and schedule these packages to run all together. As a part of the web UI, we have systems that handles failures. So if automation fails, before we're logging directly the failures to our bug tracking system, we use Jira. But actually Jira got a little bit overloaded since the execution team started, and we decided to look them to our internal tool and to have ability to rerun the test from any certain point. And I would like to highlight, if the test failed, we log absolutely everything that's related to environment, that's related to users that are used, that's related to passwords, and whatever information will be helpful for troubleshooting. And we add a screenshot of the web page where this failure occurred. All information about test execution tasks, test suite data, and execution details are stored in the data storages. Dispatcher periodically looking into the data storages, trying to find if there is any new request for the execution. And if he finds one, he checks some preconditions, such as what Selenium version to run it, what browser to use, or what operation system. So then he gathers all the requirements, and then he tries to find the free machine that fits to all these requirements. If he finds a machine, he puts their execution request, initiates the Selenium execution, and then after Selenium execution passed, it frees the robot and marks it in the status that it is free. Our automation execution, we use VMware. So we call them auto robots. Currently we have 60 auto robots where we are running our automation, and 40 auto robots where we do the development. Some automation-related data. So as I have mentioned before, small tests and continuous execution 24/7, 365 days per year. On both Selenium 1 and Selenium 2, we have developed 470 automation suites. So I would like to make sure that we all operate the same terms. Automation suites, it is a collection of the test scripts or, well, test cases. The average duration of the automation test suite can be 15 to 50 minutes, depends on the purpose of the suite. And it will be 3 to 5 times faster if you will do the same actions manually. one automation suite is being executed minimum 5 times per release. We have daily more than 500 execution in our different testing environments. And with the regressions, we find around 35 bugs per release. Now, we prepare to some story. Long time ago, at the end of 2008, somewhere in Prague, there was a very small office of Consur Technologies with only one person in QA automation. And we started to grow, starting from this time. In 4 months, there were 4 of us, and we started to take the knowledge, to translate the knowledge from the Indian contractor with whom Consur used to work before. Sooner or later, we took absolutely everything that we could, and we decided to change quite a lot of things, starting from the test execution infrastructure and finishing the coding requirements for Selenium 1 and in general coding standards. So, during 2.5 years, Prague team has developed more than 320 suites of Selenium 1 HTML based. We were executing tests through the test runner, which was very nice because it was very easy to see what exactly is executing at the same time and how many scripts left and stuff like that. We have developed quite a lot of our small internal JavaScript functions in order to do some basic verifications that Selenium 1 was not giving us any chance to do. From this time, 320 suites covering 14 different services. Currently, we're executing 265 of them. The rest was retired because of the changes in the UI or changes in the services. If you will do these things manually, it will take you around 433 man-hours. As for the benefits, first of all, majority of us came from the technical-oriented feature testers, and maybe from the developers with a small, like not so big level of development, knowledge of development. So that's why for us, it was very easy to start programming. It was very easy to start this automation. The execution with the test runner gives us a perfect tool to do the visualization and to see what exactly is going on. But time passed, and our UI from quite HTML based started to be more and more involved to look like an Ajax based. That's fantastic. That's really very nice if you're a user, but for us it is quite big pain because the code that we have to automate looks like that. We do not have too much static IDs. We have quite a lot of automatically generated IDs and elements, and all the benefits of Selenium 1 IDE for us was useless, because if you do the recording, it will record some crap that we cannot use in future. So for that, we started to use CSS selectors. And that was actually quite interesting and quite nice experience for us, because based on this experience, the transition to Selenium 2 was a little bit easier. What was a real nightmare? When we started to have more and more tests, the maintaining and the reading code, that was horrible. That was very hard to understand and very hard to involve somebody new to write automation. So after some time, the team started to move the repetitive pieces of code into the special data-driven includes, and we call it Lego. So based on this Lego, we can build our test scripts. That was quite challenging, and that was also quite hard to maintain, but for us it was step of the preparation to Selenium 2, even without very strict realization of that. So, going to Selenium 2 chapter. Sometime in the middle of 2011, the weather was great, the product was absolutely fantastic and beautiful, and one person from UI automation team and another person from framework development team started to work with Selenium 2. They started to build the first infrastructure, create some first set of tests, build some requirements and first documentation. It took approximately 4 to 5 months from the team just to slowly start transition to Selenium 2. At the beginning of the educational year, Concours has organized a Java crash course to everybody who is involved in QA automation in order to refresh knowledge for people who knew something but forgot, and to get some knowledge for absolutely people without any programming experience. The transition was not that fast, because we had to, like, the team was transitioning approximately 2 people per release. So far, starting from September, we have developed more than 45 automation suites. What we found out during this time? First of all, that the tests are more robust and more scalable, and we can include much more verification points, and the duration of the test will be, well, the same as Selenium 1 and other. We can find and catch better bugs in Ajax applications that will be more subtle, and the development will be faster. And here, this is kind of tricky point that actually I realized not so long time ago. Faster development, how you really can measure that? How you really can understand that transfer to new technology in half of a year time makes for your development faster. I came back to the data from June 2009, when, let's say, we have officially took the knowledge from India team, and we started our development. So we were able to deliver, like, one man, approximately, well, less than 1 suite release. Whether, like, our work with Selenium 2, it was one in the very beginning. And then, well, you can see in the graph how does it work. Our February release was very good for us because we have delivered more than even expected, like a little bit more than 2 suites. And as a side note, I would like to mention that at the end of our development on Selenium 1, when we were very cool and nice and we knew absolutely everything and how to automate it, the average speed was 2 automation suites per release, which is 1 month. So trying to evaluate what were the most challenging part for our transition. First of all, the worst mentioned in programming. Because for the people who used to work with Selenium 2 and who spent like 2 years or something working with Selenium 2, it was very hard because they have to rethink their approach, they have to follow the coding standards and rules, they have to understand it. For the people who started to join the team later, it was easier. Okay, if you have no problems with programming, then there is a never-ending question about how to find the good synchronization. And why our knowledge that we received with Selenium 1, our CSS selectors, our beloved CSS selectors are not working anymore. You run your script for 1 time, it goes perfectly. You run a 2nd time and it fails. Why? That was very hard to understand it. Knowledge building and sharing. Well, there are 8, my team is 8 people. And if one of them finds something interesting, he can share with his neighbor, but not with somebody else. So we used to start writing coding standard emails and update our documentation. And but so far we still have some problems when somebody has invented something new and there is some new expected problem. The knowledge stands for just in one team. And the part of the challenge and part of the strategy, it is coexistence with Selenium 1 and proven investment in transition. As a team, all the time, we have to provide some results. So that's why our topper management will not allow us to do the transition like that and without any physical delivery. So that's why the transition was slow, because we still have to maintain Selenium 1 and Selenium 2 and do development on the both systems. How to evaluate the development? How you evaluate that your suite that you are developing on Selenium 2, that they catch the bugs, that they work the same as Selenium 1 or even better. For some point of time, we were pushed to execute the same amount of tests, the same functionality on both versions of Selenium, and if Selenium 1 fails, we had to double check that Selenium 2 fails as well for the bug. And we have to prove that we have the same bugs found or even more. And actually, I think that on the 2nd release in production, we have found the bug with Selenium 2 that we didn't catch with Selenium 1. After that, let's say the transition was proved. Support for automation. For Selenium 1, it took for us around 15% of our time to support automation failures. Because of automation-related problems, I'm not talking about bugs or changes in the application. The number is quite high actually for Selenium 2 as well. It's like 5–10%. But the logic that we are using there is much more complex and we have much more verification points there. However, we are trying to make this number smaller. Also transition, I was asking myself a question for a long time. How the team will react to the transition. Because they already know how to work with Selenium 1. They knew what they will do when they will come to the office. They will know what technology to use, and there were no any hidden problems. And with Selenium 2, with Java, well, it's something absolutely new for majority of the people. So that was an open question for a long time, but I would say, already based on my experience, that the team took it very, very good. So they were very tired to work with Selenium 1 and to support all this code. So they were very happy with transit, and especially when they started to work with normal Java. Our main motto that if there was an irresolvable problem on Selenium 1, that was fixed on Selenium 2. Well, the things that I already mentioned a couple of times. It's easier to test complex scenarios and create complex logic. With Selenium 1, we were not able to support some kind of pop-up windows. With Selenium 2, easy. That's not a problem, absolutely. It's automatable and that's running already for a couple of times. During our work, we found out that sometimes you have to connect to your remote desktop to take a look into your automation using your laptop. And you found out that, well, test is running, everything fine, but then it's failed. Why? All the elements are on the page. You can see everything, but the test is failed. We don't know why. After some time, we found out that Selenium 2 is much closer to the normal user behavior. So that's why it needs to see all elements on the page in order to work with them. So for us, it means that we have to hard code resolution with which we connect to our remote desktops. That's it. Focus sensitivity. If you do development on your local machine, you run your test and you decided to read a book in your PDF file. You change your focus from the browser to PDF. Test failed. Well, this is, I think, known issue. In order to remove this problem, we do the development on the remote desktops. So, and actually this is not our issue anymore. So, the main stages of our evolution. The first 3 points here mostly related to our first person in UI and framework team. We started to build your knowledge of JavaScript and object-oriented programming. We started to take more and more information about page objects pattern and read all Google groups and all related information that we can gather. As a first step, initial design of the page objects, and we started to do the evaluation of CSS selectors versus XPath. We were trying to find why it's not working, why it is not working as we want to. Then we have more knowledge and we do the redesign of the page objects. And we did the full conversion to XPath. And actually here there is a point that I would like to mention. There was some level of resistance from our management in why we decided to move to XPath. Because their evaluation is slower than CSS selectors on IE. And we have to prove that, well, they are more powerful, we can construct much more complex navigation locators that will navigate to elements, and our test will be more reliable for that. And there was just nothing related to technology, that was just their think about evaluation and about the speed. And then we proved that actually the speed of development, the speed of the task execution on IE and on Firefox, well, they're almost similar. Maybe in IE it will be 5 minutes slower, but it's not that big deal. When we saw that we have created fantastic tests, absolutely durable and nice, we add them to the daily executions. Okay, they started to fail, and for around 2 weeks we were receiving only failed reports. Why? Well, some conditions changed. People were not watching how they run. People were not watching how they behave. The environment situation was absolutely different, and we have to do the fixes based on these failures. We have to understand where is the synchronization-related issues. And we started tweaking for IE. What we found out? 99% of the tests will run absolutely without any problems, and it will be possible to run on both Firefox and IE without too much issues. But there will be this 1%, and it will be very hard to find this couple of the elements in which it just will fail. In the IE, there is no such nice tools as a file finder that allows us to see the element, and we have to read the code in order to see the difference. Quite often it is difference based on the capital and small letters or some different names of the classes attributes. More and more people started to join Selenium too. We started to have more ideas coming up. And we started to do the review and improving of our design. In order for new people to create better tests and more easier to understand, for often tested workflows or operations, we created some special wizards, which are actually classes that you can call in your test script, test suite with the parameters. You do not care what's inside. You just call it and that's it. For example, as a login to the system, you don't need to know what exactly it does and what level of synchronization is inside. If you need to create an expense report, just pass there expense name, expense type, amount, and so on. And as a final thing, education. We have to educate more people to use Selenium too and to create automation. And we have to support all other teams. This is my favorite section of all the presentation. It's called advices. Well, it's very easy to give advices if you already have like half of a year of experience in this area. So first of all, evaluate the benefits of your switching. Evaluate if you really need it, if your company will support it, because it's very, very hard. It's very hard for you to prove it. It's very hard to prove it to your team. It's very hard to prove it to your management, because in some point of time, your results will decrease. You need to have a very clear understanding of that. You have to identify the early adopters. Ideally, it should be somebody with a programming experience, or there should be somebody technical-oriented feature tester. If you are a lead, you will not be able to go through all details of the architecture of technical realization. You will work with some other issues. Try to establish good relationship and communication with the development team. How it will help you? First of all, they can do some basic review and architecture. They can provide you some architectural ideas and changes. And second, if they will do the development of a new feature, they can keep in mind your requirements for automation, and they can provide to you the ideas of the elements or whatever you need in order for your automation testing to come easier. And aim for the best practices. Read, ask, do small iterations and do the review of these iterations. And be prepared that you will need to share the knowledge, because if you will start to work with Selenium and if you will show the good results, there will be more and more people who would like to join you and to know something more. Our role to go for this year, it is increasing of the coverage, first of all, of automation of our products. For that, we have to teach our feature testers to write easy automation, and we can focus on the most complex scenarios and on the most complex parts of the system. Then, we have to complete the transition from Selenium 1 to Selenium 2. Because for us, it's a little bit complicated to support two frameworks and to fix their failures on Selenium 1. And then we have to keep improving the quality. Quality of our products, quality of our tests, to spend less time on maintenance. And actually, I would like to come back to the advices section and talk to you what we didn't do properly. Well, first of all, as a team, we probably do not spend too much time on the Java chapter. For some of us, it was very hard to do the transit, and well, that's happened. Some people, well, it's easy to say that you know, you understand the object-oriented principles, but then when you have to use them, it's not that easy. So ideally, if you need to establish a team, try to take somebody who is able to do that. And second thing, it is a good communication with devs. Actually, this is probably the issue is on my side because we didn't do it. We have the normal way communication, but not as it should be. For example, we have 3 services where developers have the shared code. In our test, this is 3 different services. And if the development does a new feature in introduce a new feature in the shared code, we have in UI automation team to introduce it into 3 different services. That's okay, it's a part of our design, and I'm not going to say that this is a bad design, but we could do it before. So here I would like to show to you a small demo of our test execution infrastructure. So this is how the system looks like. This is our set of the services. So for example, I will select one of the services, and now we are going to run the test. So in the middle there will be a set of parameters that I will select. So version, production, browser in which I would like to run it, and some priority. And hit run. So the request is being sent to our system, and now we will be waiting until it will be dispatched. So far, on the right side, you can see our testing environments that we have. With the parameters that you have selected for your test, you can create the new package, or you can add them to the existing ones. So what is a package? Instead of all the time selecting the same things over and over again, you can select the packages and run it just within one click. If you need to know the execution details of this suite that we have executed right now, you can take a look when it was last time executed, by whom, and well, what is the last result. In the current activity tab, you can see in which auto robot that was dispatched. Well, this is my current test, and where we are executing, in what robots and which tests are, another tests are being executed. So this is our failures tab. So here, all the information about failures is being stored. So you can take a look. What do we have here? We have some detail, some description about the failure, where it's happened. We have a lot of files, a lot of log files. So, for example, we have detailed Selenium 2 report, which shows more information about well, our internal information about application version and environment and the browser and robot where it was executed. We can also see users with which it has failed, and well, we will have a chance to reproduce it. As well, we are storing the screenshot. I have downloaded. So, for example, just opening the screenshot, you can see that okay, we were not able to log to the system. Well, it gives to you some basic point from which we can start. We have some log files based on the suite that was executed. So, for example, my first script is preconditions. So, in the preconditions log, I will take a look what commands were executed. And I think that I do not have here a normal thing to watch it. We have job logs and global properties files. So if we will look into the auto robot, we can take a look.
The number of results that should be analyzed are more than these 5 people can handle.
Well, usually no, because we try to speed the bubble. We try to use normal balancing, and ideally we do not have too much failures. And typically, well, the failures can be related. If it is past result, well, there is nothing to analyze. If there is a failed result, well, yeah, there is enough. Currently, there is enough people to do that. But if we will create more and more tests, or when the feature testers will join us, yeah, probably we'll have to add more people to this team.
Yeah, and one more question: why you created this web UI from scratch, and how much effort you spent in order to develop such kind of system?
Okay, good. I know. I was expecting this question actually. I know about Selenium Grid, and actually our first version of test execution infrastructure appeared approximately the same time when Selenium Grid appeared. It was just our small internal web-based tool with working with 4 or 5 remote desktops. Then we have changed the functionality, we have changed the UI, we did it internally, like let's say in parallel with Selenium Grid. And now it's quite a lot customized for our needs. Because we can schedule the packages, we can add the packages, we can do whatever we want. So, yeah, that's just 2 parallel products. That's historical reasons.
Yeah, and how much effort you spent, how much development effort you spent?
Well, this is a part of their normal regular activities plus mid-tier test development. I mean that we have a team of 5 people who does development of mid-tier tests and this test execution infrastructure plus all enhancements that we want to have.
Why do you choose Java as programming language for not very strong technical team?
Well, because we just take a look what is the more popular, where we have more documentation, what forums are more active. So we had 2 choices, either it will be Python or it will be Java. So we decided that the Java community is more active.
Two questions. First, there is a number of external systems with which your application interacts. How do you emulate them during tests? And
what do you mean by external systems? I mean,
some services request hotel, request airport schedule, whatever.
They're all integrated into our system.
So your system is completely self-contained?
Yeah.
Then no question. Second question, I guess each your test requires some test data to be executed. How do you maintain them? Who is responsible for maintenance of this test data?
Well, we usually get our scenarios, what we have to automate either from the customers or from the feature testing teams. They provide to us all the data with which we have to work on. If we see that there are some automation, some failures, and we think that there is something wrong with the data, we will refer to them.
Okay. Suppose there is a user with certain role, and you need to test that you can log in by this user and some things will be available, some not, according to this role. So you need this user and the role to be created and prepared for the test.
Yes.
Does your test do it by itself?
Yes. Our tests are started from 0. I mean that we do not have any companies, any users, any roles, whatever. We create it from the scratch. We create all the precondition part.
Okay, then how much of the test run time is spent totally?
Fantastic question. Depends. If it is basic verification tests, then around maybe 5 minutes. And believe me, we have to test this functionality, because if our sales will not be able to create a new user during their demos, we will not go too far. If it is scenarios that based on the client validations, where we have to restore a client database, remove all sensitive data, well, it could be around 15 minutes to 20 minutes, depends on the environment responses.
What is the ratio between these preconditions and payload of the test?
We try to preconditions to be no more than 20 minutes for the most complex scenarios.
And the test itself?
30.
Mm-hmm.
So 20 for preconditions, 30 for the test.
It's quite okay.
Well, yes, because we know that it's very hard to rerun the test from a certain point, or if it is our client validation test, again, wait for 20 minutes till we will restore the database.
Are your tests normally always green, or are there any things which are red during a week or a month?
That's absolutely normal to have the failed results as well.
Sure. Then how do you keep track of this? For example, there was a test which was failed yesterday and it was not fixed yet, so it's normal that this test is red. How do you key engineers?
It will be automatically rerun on the package next time. So if we have not any time to go and to fix them, well, it probably will fail again.
So does your system automatically sort out tests which did not fail last time and failed this time?
No, it doesn't. This is a good point. We probably have to think about that.
Thank you.
From the whole amount of your failures, What percent of box is it in it? A box of application, not scripts.
We can what bugs you would like to compare? The bugs that found by feature testers or automation-related failures versus bugs that we find?
Automation versus bugs of application.
I do not have any, I cannot say to you now because I do not have this data. But there are cases, well, you can think about. If automation fails, it could happen for four different reasons. Bug in application, change in application, some environment glitches, which also happen, and automation-related failure. So that's why we have more tests failing. I mean that then real bugs logging. But then you have to do the identification, what is the root cause of that.
And how you provide stability of your tests and analysis of these failures?
We do the troubleshooting. That's why we have the very good logging, because we need to have the tools that will give to us any supportive information to see if it is some related to environment or it is some bugs related to our automation.
So it's done more manually?
Yeah, that's manual work.
And you don't have such instrument like it was in the first lecture, the analysis of the page and then no sense.
Thank you.
One question for me. Just you said that you fully trust to
Sure.
You said that you fully trust to the old tests. So say you run the test on production and you can put your hands in the fire and sign off all the time 100%.
Yeah, that's if you're a QA automation, how you can do the bad job. I mean that if you do the automation of the test, you're responsible for that. So you have to verify the functional part. Yeah, they can. What the limitation of the UI automation test is that the elements can be completely in a mess in different parts of the screen, but they will all be present and test will work. This may happen, but however, from the functional point, yes.
Without manual testing in the end.
There is nobody who does the regression in our company. I mean the overall system.
So if the tests are run good, so how can you have the bugs in the next release?
Because of the new features that's going on. We have continuous development, and the release cycle is just 4 to 5 weeks. So that's why the development provides a new code, which sometimes can, or extension of already existing ones, existing features, and quite often it fails the regression.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
So you have pretty huge farm of servers, 64 test executions, 40 for development. So I saw this Windows update stuff. So there are sometimes stuff like critical update, reboot, and server is not available anymore. How do you handle such huge environment? And check that server is available to reboot.
We have actually a special team who works with the environments. So if I need set of, that's my, if I need a set of 10 new development auto robots, I'm creating the request for the team who does for me the cloning of configuration and creates for me the robots.
But what about server that was running but due some whatever issues?
But the same. I mean that the test was running, some critical update was installed. Okay, well, the test failed. That's one of the reasons of the failures. The machine has rebooted, okay, and then it's up and running, and we can dispatch new tests there.
So, and there is some auto login stuff that automatically raises.
Sometimes we have also hardware issues if the machine is absolutely down and dead. So in that case, we involve people who are responsible for these machines.
So there is no such kind of dashboard where you can see that this server is okay, this server is not okay?
This team has. Well, personally, I do not have this services.
I see.
Well, okay guys, it looks like that we don't have any other questions. So thank you for your time. If you will have any further questions, please feel free to catch me on Twitter or maybe in my email or in Facebook, whatever you will find me. And I will be more than happy to share with you all experience and all information that I have. Thank you.